Welcome back into CBS Sports HQ. We are live for college football pregame outside of Doak Campbell Stadium, the new and improved. And man, this desk has just been talking the talk on every single commercial break. We really got started off on such a high note this morning. I'll give you a little peek behind the curtain. When we all got in the car on our way here, Damien had the aux cord. What'd you play?
I was playing some good music, huh? It's like
what was the first song you picked?
What was the first song that I played this morning? It's
Sweet
called
Home Alabama.
Yeah, something like that. Does anybody in here know the words of Sweet Home Alabama?
No, nobody knows.
Raise your hands if you know. Hold on, can we get a
ever?
Roll. Hold on. Hold on, what?
Nobody never heard that foolishness.
In Birmingham, they love the governor.
Nobody not listening to that.
Right. We're outnumbered.
I'm telling you, that is what it's been like today as we get ready to watch Alabama and Florida State. But we are an hour away from kickoff and the biggest game of the weekend between #1 Texas and the defending national champs, #3 Ohio State. We've talked about the quarterbacks in this matchup. We've talked about, could Texas win a national championship? I know that they're your pick to win. What about Ohio State? I mean, what are expectations for the Buckeyes this year after winning it all last year?
Well, first of all, I really hope they beat Michigan for Ryan Day's sake, because I know they got the natty, but 4 years in a row. That's
all that needs to happen this season?
Maybe that kind of takes. But I think their goal is to go back-to-back. It's one of the hardest things to accomplish in all of sports that you very rarely see. But they have so many question marks, Emily, across the board. One of the things I'm most excited to see is what is Brian Hartline, who's been a fantastic wide receiving coach, and he's done a phenomenal job bringing talent to that place. But Brian Kelly was handed the reins Chip Kelly was handed the reins last year of that offense. I think it's going to be a little bit more collaborative between Ryan Day, who's a great offensive mind in his own right, between he and Brian Hartline. Brian Hartline has never called offensive plays before at any level, so I'm curious to see what type of adjustment period that takes with a brand-new quarterback.
And the expectations for this Ohio State team, clearly, they're not as high as they were a year ago. So that leaves a little space in terms of if you don't see that championship pedigree. But to your point, you got to find a way to beat your rival. I mean, Ohio State fans would rather beat Michigan and not win a national championship because they were mad that they did not beat Michigan, even though they won a national championship. So what's next for Ryan Day? And you look at this roster, yes, they lost a lot of key components, but they still have an abundance of talent. And in this atmosphere for them, we get a really good indicator on what we could see from Julian, Sayin, from this entire offense, knowing the changeover that we're going to watch.
You have the best player in the country in all of college football in Jeremiah Smith. It's not even close. So how can Coach Hartline get him the ball when teams playing coverage? I mean, he's going to see Shell towards his side. He's going to be covered with two guys all game long. Can Julian Sayin play within himself, not turn the ball over, and create explosive plays for this offense?
And to AJ's point, remember when they played Texas in the playoffs? They did a great job in making sure. Yes.
One catch for 3 yards.
They did a great job in making sure that they neutralized Jeremiah Smith. So let's see what the game plan will be.
Well, for me, this game is going to come down to how much can Ohio State superstars cover up the ineptitude in other spots. So obviously we're sitting here talking about Jeremiah Smith. We should mention Kanell Tate, who is very similar to an Emeka Egbuka, having a first round draft pick, having a lot of success in the NFL. But how can Caleb Downs on the defensive side of the ball, how can he get his guys in the proper position? They have a new defensive coordinator in Matt Patricia, and you talked about it. He's one of the greatest defensive minds the NFL has seen in quite some time, but that comes with a complexity to his scheme that comes with a lot of adjustments, a lot of communication, a lot of guys being on the same page. Caleb Downs is going to be the orchestrator of that. So I think that that's going to be the tale of Ohio State's season. You lack in certain areas, but again, you have the superheroes that can cover up some of those holes in your roster. So can they play superhero ball and beat Texas? That part I'm not sure because Texas got some superstars too, but I do think that will serve them a lot of purpose throughout the season.
Listen, I think one thing that could bring Ohio State trouble, right? Patricia comes from the Belichick tree, okay? What did Coach Saban and Kirby Smart struggle with when teams went tempo on them? Mm-hmm. Because their defense is so complex. Mm-hmm. You have so many calls. Within one defensive call, it can change to 5, 7 different things, right? So you know Sark, who has spent time with Coach Saban, understands this tree of defensive knowledge right here. I look for them to play some up-tempo and put pressure on Ohio State's defense.
Can I add some spice to that pot you're cooking for us?
Yeah.
What about Arch Manning becoming a +1 in the running game.
Yes.
For me, as a former defender, I hate playing against those type of quarterbacks, especially in this day and age in football, because we only account for 11 guys. When you have a +1 at the quarterback position, it's like having 2 players in one, a quarterback and a running back. And Arch Manning has the athleticism to be very, very impactful in the running game, either QB design runs or just improvising on the fly. You talked about the tempo could be an issue for a Matt Patricia-led defense. What about Arch Manning becoming a +1 in the running game, because he has that ability to really take off, and we've seen what type of speed he has.
It's just like his uncles, right? No, Arch Manning,
Well played.
you talk about expectations, though, for this kid. He comes into this season as the Heisman favorite. And I feel like every time we talk about Arch Manning, we have to say, it's not just about...
Don't waste your money. No, I get it. He's
because
a
you can't make
five-star.
much because he's the favorite.
No,
it's
it's not great value at all. If they lose this game, then I think that might be the time to snatch him up. But we have so many teams that are riding on hope of optimism. Arch Manning is just the one that we all know the last name of. But there are teams across college football who have 5 stars, who come in with a great high school pedigree, that have never played in environments like this. I think this year could be a little bit bumpy for Arch Manning. I mean, Garrett Nussmeier waited for 4 years for his opportunity, still struggled on the road, turning the ball over. I expect he'll make a big jump forward this year. I think Arch is going to be good. The question is he going to be great? I would put my money on year 2 that he takes that big step forward, but he is a massive unknown in this game, even though we all assume he's going to be great.
Yeah, I think it's a lot to expect Arch to win the Heisman.
By the way,
Somebody's
that police escort is not the team. That is Osceola and Renegade right there. That's how we roll right there.
Yeah.
I'll give you your time.
They get escorted into the stadium like 18.
That's not
carry on.
Not a mascot. It's a tribute, like we said last night at dinner, right?
Right, it is.
Y'all done knocked me all off my train of thought.
Arch Manning.
Arch Manning, yes. Again, Heisman. Arch Manning, I think it's a lot to expect him to get there this year. And then again, when we talk about the best player in college football, we already know who it is. It's Jeremiah Smith. Now, with a young quarterback in Julian Sayin, is he going to be able to have the production? Is he going to be able to have the numbers? Especially when you have teams that have had a full offseason to prepare for you, to cover you. So that's why I go to my sleeper pick, which is Jeremiah Love, running back from Notre Dame, to win the Heisman, because he plays at Notre Dame. They're independent. So we all know they don't have the toughest road. So he has the ability to put up big number game after game after game. We saw he's got the electric home run hitting speed. We've seen the contact balance that he has. We've seen him do it pretty much everything at the highest level. I mean, this is a prototypical first-round pick at running back. So I think if it's not Jeremiah Smith, I'm going with another Jeremiah, just Jeremiah Love. And it's about time. We need another running back in the Heisman.
It won't happen. You know why? In this day and age in offenses, you don't see running backs getting 20-plus carries, averaging that like how it used to be.
If you've got Jeremiah Smith.
It still doesn't. It's not
Jeremiah
happening.
Love, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, I listen, to get back to Arch, the expectation for this young kid is just so high that it's hard to even live up to. And I just don't want this to, like Danny said, come out, have some bumps this year, and then lose that confidence. He's got 2 great uncles. Hell, his dad was the best athlete of them all. And they'll tell you, the Manning family will tell you that. But I just don't want him to lose confidence by having some struggles throughout the year because of the expectations that the media has put on him.
According to his grandpa, he's coming back, though, for
Yeah, right. But I'm telling you, having been a backup at different places, having been a highly touted recruit, the expectations are off the chart. The optimism, it doesn't always work out.
Right.
In Arch Manning's class, there were 5 5-star players. You know how many of them are at the same spot? 1. It is only Arch.
Yeah.
Dante Moore is now, he was at UCLA, now he's at Oregon. Jackson Arnold was the same class, started at Oklahoma.
Nico Iamaleava.
It's just all these quarterbacks across the country, not just Arch. Julian Sayin may be one. He's already transferred once, but we're not certain of what we're going to get from him. There's going to be bumps for all these young players, and AJ hit a great point. That confidence. How do you handle the adversity? Every great quarterback has to stare it in the face at some time in their career. Oftentimes it's earlier, and whether you push through it is whether you're going to be great or whether you're just going to be average.
Well, Danny, I want to ask both of you, because you guys are quarterbacks. So with all of the expectation and hype around Arch Manning, do you like the comments of him coming out and saying, well, the red dot isn't on me, the red dot is on every other team? How do you feel about a comment like that with so much expectation?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to the same mindset we had. Listen, when you're at Alabama, when you're at Texas, when you're at Florida State, like these big traditional programs, you know you're going to get everybody's best every Saturday, right? Like, And the way to flip that is say, hey, we're going out and everybody else has a target on them because they're in the way to for us to achieve the ultimate goal is to be the national championship. So, listen, I love the mindset, and I think that's the mindset he has to take going into this year.
You talk about a target on their back, though. I mean, I want to get to Bryce Underwood. I mean, he's an 8-figure man starting at Michigan, and it all starts today. One of the many big-time games that are happening in the Big Ten. It's not just Ohio State. We've got Penn State, Indiana, Oregon, and Michigan all in action here on this Week 1 Saturday.